Hey, what's up, guys? So I thought I'd do a little video here of something I've been kind of messing with the last couple of weeks. Um, so a little backstory. I guess probably when he joined the forum, but Michael Vollmer from the Revolution Design Neo Vintage RC. Um, he joined the forum 2007, somewhere around there, 2008, and he had posted pictures of a car that he designed and built for I don't remember exactly what race it was, but somewhere in 92. And it had carbon lower chassis, carbon top plate, kind of like a double deck car, like the Stealths, stuff like that. But it had 10T arms on it. So it was a buggy with 10T arms. And I always thought it was cool looking. And then maybe like a short time later, I had found an article in RCCA of a scratch-built mid-motor buggy. I don't remember exactly what year it was in. Could have been 92, 93-ish. It was a mid-motor buggy with truck arms, 10T arms. And I always thought that was cool too. So I always had this an idea or a want to try and build a buggy with 10T arms. And not just, have a super wide buggy. Yeah, I wanted it to be, like it should be, but with the truck arms. So there was another guy on RC10 Talk. I can't think of his screen name right now, but he did one out of a gold tub, and he used like RPM Worlds inner arm mounts on the back to help, narrow the back with the truck arms, but he was still like too wide. It was, better than just, throwing buggy wheels and tires on a 10T. But, it still wasn't what I was looking for what I wanted to do with one. So obviously I hadn't really done anything with it. So the other week, Michael started posting these little videos of his car from 92, and it's called the Vitek Symbiosis. And apparently he's going to start like a production run of them. And so it kind of got the whole truck arm on the buggy thing back in my mind. And I started thinking about it more and, what I could do and how I would want to go about it. And just one night I was just sitting down here and I had I got, truck arms laying around and stuff. So I was just kind of laying them out with, I don't remember what I actually started with, but I ended up grabbing there's some B3 stuff on it now, but this was my B2 that I had put the Moto Obscura prototype rear end setup in. So I'm just using this for kind of mock-up at the moment. All right. So I started just like laying the truck arms out on there, and I knew I would need like more of a modern wheel with shallower offset compared to like the regular associate or the J Concepts mono wheels. But my whole goal in this was I didn't want it to be any wider than a B2 or a B3 with the mono wheels on it. Like a B3 with the mono wheels, I didn't want this is actually B4 wheels and B6 wheels, B7 wheels. I didn't want it any wider than a stock B2 or B3. So that was my focus going forward. So you start, kind of playing around with stuff, and I basically got it to what I want. I didn't like measure it, but just like holding my B3 up to it, front and back, the wheelbase, everything is pretty much identical. So I'll just start in the back. Why not? So basically in the back, these offset, the shallow offset wheels compared to the mono wheels, they're like 9 millimeters different. So you can bring the axle out another 8, 9, 10 millimeters, and then the wheel will bring it back in. So, so what I have, let me take the wheel off quick so I can do this well. Sorry. What I ended up coming up with is, bear with me 1 second. All right. So standard B3 mount, you know, B2, B3 mount, a 10T arm, a B3 hub, because like a B3 hub will bring the axle back in, and a B4 CVD. As you see, these out drives are chipped a little bit, but there's plenty of engagement there. And a hex. On the arm, I just had to shave the front side down right there, so it would actually, even it's a little tight because of the way the arm goes up compared to how the chassis is shaped. So I gotta shave it a little bit, but that needed to get clearanced a little bit. And then the arms are wider. The truck arm mounts are wider than the B3 mounts, so I just needed to put like, I think it's like not quite 1/8 inch, maybe like 3/32, like a 3/32 shim there. So it brings the arm back. So I'm using the B2 chassis brace at the moment, just because a B3 one will need to get notched. So I didn't want to mess with one yet. So I'm basically turning this car into a B3. So to be like a guinea pig for this, I'm going to build a nicer. This chassis is all screwed up. You see, someone ran a Dremel in there with slots before I got it, and they were using like Velcro straps to hold the battery in. So it's not the nicest chassis. The post here is actually cracked. Yeah, so I glued it and ran the longest screw down in there as I can. The front of the battery post is all ground down to fit a servo. So it ain't the nicest chassis. So I was like, well, I'll make a nicer B2 with the prototype stuff, and I'll convert this into this long arm deal. So yeah, so that's the back. It worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I was worried about it still being a little too wide, but let me get the wheel back on quick. I'll hold my B2 or my B3 up against it. And really, once I had it together and the CVD engaged the out drives, I knew it was going to be fine. So the only thing with it, as you can see on that side, I had to run like, that's one of those aluminum like body mount spacers that come with the RC10. Instead of using, I don't have any of those wheel spacers that typically go on the outside. So I just use one of those as a spacer just to move the bone in. So there's no shims on the outside of this, or no spacers behind the pin on the outside. I'm gonna get the best Yeah, it's hard to tell. But it's basically the same. So that's the back. The front was a little bit more tricky. So with the 10T arms, these are like the T2 GT arms. Michael actually used truck arms. And if you go on his Facebook page, he does all these like little snippets of pretty much building the car, like how to go about building the car. And, you know, showing milling the stock RC10 T arms and stuff like that to fit on the chassis and stuff. So it's kind of cool it's kind of cool to check out. So on the front, with the shock mount being on top of the arm instead of down here, the stock tower wasn't going to work. Even with 71s on the front instead of the 89s on the front, they were just too short. And I think Michael, on what he did to his arms, is he dished the arm out down here and brought the hole down. But I think he uses like the 2nd series one, and I think there's a little bit more meat there. And just the way the webbing and stuff is on the arm, I didn't really want to remove a bunch of material. So I decided to go the taller shock tower route. So I guess last Saturday morning, or Friday night, Saturday morning, I was kind of messing around with how much taller I was going to need tower, and kind of figured that out. I hit up Jeff at Factory Works and sent him a picture of what I was kind of looking for, and told him like where the holes needed to be. And then it's, you know, pretty similar to I know this is cut up, but you know, like there's a standard, you know, B3. It's basically just raised the holes up to where I needed it, and then just readjusted the lines. So it actually kind of looks like a Composite Craft Worlds tower, actually. but it works, and these are 89 shocks, so yeah, it's all good now. The other problem with this, the arm mounts, or the distance between the arm and the bulkhead, is a lot more than a B3 arm, or even a T3 arm. So at the moment, I just got a stack of, I guess 3 of them are the Moto Obscura stainless hinge pin braces and the stock aluminum one. I kind of need one more because it's like a 5/16 gap, so this thing does not want to focus. So I just have a plastic spacer on either side for now. But yeah. So other than that, stock B3 stuff on the outside, and B4 wheels. So hold the, and that's a stock B3. So it's like dead on. So I'm like super happy with how that's turned out. So, and it feels good. So for now, the one thing that kind of sucks with the back is, and I don't want to put like a shorter tower in the back, because now you're changing like the pivot points and whatnot in the back. Now when you compress the suspension, there's quite a gap there at the shock for full compression. So I don't want to put a shorter tower on it. So I just happened to take these. These came off an RC10 B3. I've had them on my T2M for, well, pretty much ever since I put it together. And they're the 139s. So they're slightly longer than the 132s that are on it. So I'm going to get these together because these are going to come off and go on that B2 anyway. And those gold ones up front go to another B2 that I have, B2 Sport. So I'm just kind of using them for mock-up at the moment. So those are going to go back with the other kit. And I'll put these on the back. And I have a pair of 89s for the front to match. But they're on another car that I was planning on putting like the factory team V2 shocks on. So once I do that, then I'll have the blue 89s to put on the front of this. So yeah. So I got the shocks done. I got to get a couple, some new ball cups, turnbuckles that are the right length. And oops. Really, that's about it. I don't really need to get much of anything else. Well, I'll have to get tires for these wheels. I'll get some sprinters for it so I can take it to insanity, and I figure I can hot lap it, or I'll be able, head-to-head test it. This with my stock V3. So that's my goal. But yeah, I'm just happy with how it's fit. You have an idea and you're able to make it work out. So the next thing is just a matter of getting it on the track, see how it works. And I think it'll be pretty good. I don't really see like I said, the car's the same width, front and rear, but the pins are moved out basically 8 millimeters on either side. On the front, and it's like 10 millimeters in the back. So like the hubs are way inside there compared to how they normally are. So, but it feels good, and the back's actually, it almost sucks I gotta change the shocks because like they feel good, and like the droop is good and everything too. So it kind of sucks I gotta change them, but is what it is. Throwing stuff around. All right, so until I get some parts in, and actually it'd be kind of nice to have it done for the vintage Nats, just to rip around and try it on that track. So, and I don't think it'll be a problem to have it ready by then, just to screw around with. But yeah, that's where it's at for now. See you later.